It was another bizarre incident at the Disney parks. Disneyland featured a man who was, let's say, less clothed than normal, running around It's a Small World, touching the dollies, and getting arrested eventually. But the question becomes now, are the Disney parks safe? This is a repeat of a number of bizarre incidents where people have wondered about that response time from Disney security. So today we're talking about, are you really safe at Disneyland and Disney World? Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's a type of phrase that you will not hear at the Walt Disney World Resort, nor at Disneyland Resort. They used to say it before the fireworks, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, but they say it no more. We say it here on the Pro Channel because we think it's just fine. We also think it's fine when we have the effervescent Lorena Creole back on the channel. Lorena, welcome.
Hey, well, thank you so much for having me here, Pro. Always good being here.
Absolutely, Lorena, and we are going to have a topic that is bizarre, a little humorous, and could be a little bit scary at the same time. Let's drive straight into this one. Disneyland guest disrobes and wreaks havoc on It's a Small World attraction. Where was Disneyland security? This on thatparkplace.com. And over here you can see the disrobed man down to his undies, although I think at times he may have been without said undies, wandering around the It's a Small World attraction. The article says another incident involving a guest acting bizarrely occurred at Disneyland Resort yesterday. Now, some people are wondering why Disneyland security was so slow to respond significantly. Here's the context, and then we're going to watch it together. A Disneyland guest disembarked from their boat inside It's a Small World on Sunday, November 26th. Not only did they exit the transport vehicle, but they also disrobed of their clothes down to their skivvies. And in addition to that degree of strangeness, the individual also walked around the sets of It's a Small World, touching fragile animatronics and putting pressure on items that likely were never designed for such interactions. In the background of the footage, a woman can be heard calling for the man to stop moving around and sit down. What is less clear is if this is a security person with Disney or if this is an attraction cast member waiting for security to arrive. Now, at this point, we do believe that it is an attractions cast member, not security. Significant time passes with no sign of security appearing via backstage doors and or maintenance access to stop the man or remove him from the sets. All right, let's take a look at what this looked like for guests who are riding the attraction. We've got the audio off here, Lorena, but you can see, and we've got this also from Instagram, magic.with.niagara, I think is the way we say that. But Lorena, there's the man. He's wandering around the India set, and of course that's fabric that is blown via air vents to make it look like water. He is now sitting in the water. You got to say he's not skipped ab day, but he also appears to be on some sort of perhaps psychedelic or something. And there's where he pushes down on the head of the animatronic. And these animatronics, frankly, are not designed to take this kind of physical interaction because, well, they're not made for that at all. Lorena, what do you think about what we're seeing on the screen right now?
I am just flabbergasted. Now, granted, at Walt Disney World, you had some people who stepped out the boat, Pirates of the Caribbean, into the water. But I have never seen anything like this, which makes me wonder what would possess somebody to do something like this.
Well, I think clearly this is someone who is, and let's turn the audio on. Sorry about that. Here we go. I think this is clearly, and we've got, all of these are coming from different people. This is from Heart Disneyland on Instagram, but this person's on something. I mean, there's just no way.
Yes, I'm being very facetious.
There's the clothing, by the way. Randy, you seem speechless about what we're witnessing right now.
I have to say, this is the kind of behavior I expect to see like at Venice Beach when I used to live in Los Angeles. You'd see that kind of thing happen on Venice Beach. You'd see that kind of thing happen on Hollywood Boulevard with people doing crazy things. But I have never seen, you know, seen this happen.
This person is definitely in It's a Small World, and the small world is whatever hallucinatory experience
Yeah.
they're having right now. It's they have entered into a different realm, but one realm that perhaps should have been entered into is security entering the realm of this attraction to pull this nut job out of there. Lorena, I'm thinking about as we watch this guy, I'm thinking about the fact that were he to have decided to do something inappropriate beyond just disrobing, had he, had something dangerous, had he brought harm to guests, it doesn't appear to me that Disney security reacted in the time that they should have. So, Lorena, let me ask you: you go to Disney parks often. You go to Disney World, now not Disneyland at this time, but do you think that Disney security is up to the job? We've seen incidents in the past, fights in Toontown. We've seen a brawl just last month at the Magic Kingdom. Do you think Disney security is up to the task, or do you think that it's all just sort of smoke and mirrors?
I would say smoke and mirrors. Um, Considering at the parks, and there was a certain incident, I want to say a couple of during one of the Halloween parties, a guest had a particular complaint about Disney security.
This is the
Disney
dog incident,
security
correct?
didn't. Yes,
Yes.
yes.
This is to clarify. We can't corroborate this in any way.
No,
There have been multiple complaints about the way that service animals have been treated or neglected by individuals who should know better at Disney. But we can't corroborate any of that.
No, not at all. These were people who were behind me, and they were just saying what happened. I didn't see it, so
right. And we're not discounting what they said either.
Yeah, it's like it can't corroborate it. It's like we can only go, by word of mouth. But it seemed like nothing really got done, or there was no real attempt to get things done until Orange County Sheriff's Department showed up.
If this person, Lorena, had decided, or in their stupor had just, out of paranoia done this, if they had started destroying these animatronics, I don't know that there's anything that would have stopped them. There's a tremendous amount of harm not only to guests that can occur, but a tremendous amount of damage that can be done to historic attractions that would be very difficult to replicate and replace if someone just wanted to act this way. And I think this really opens the door, and we should have appropriate skepticism of whether or not Disney is up to the task of protecting from individuals who might harbor malicious intent for others or for property of Disney. This is really concerning to me, and I am hesitant to bring it up, but it kind of reminds me of that animatronic that was taken from the Wonders of Life Pavilion, and that was a big deal, and that person was quite foolish. But one of the things that comes to mind is, why, with all the cameras and all the security and all the systems in place, why do these strange incidents continue to happen at Disney parks? Why can't they get a handle on this?
I think part of it does have to do with social media. But the whole thing is about videos going viral, and I can't tell you how many TikTok videos I've seen.
Oh, that's interesting. So you wait, now, Lorena, you're saying that this guy may not have been on some sort of mind-altering experience, but rather this could have been part of an elaborate social media thing where he's going to make a lot of money or get some sort of reward for acting like a crazy person on the attraction. We're not saying that definitive, but you're saying that it's something on the table to consider in this age.
Definitely. Case in point, a couple of weeks ago I think at the Italy Pavilion at Epcot, one guy jumped into the moat over there, the water over there, because his friend bet him $6,000 to do it.
It's a great point, Lorena. Well, let's go now. We're going to go to an expert in all things Disney. Josh Harris has some thoughts on the security and how it works, the protocols of the Disney parks, and exactly how this individual may have been able to act as they did for the amount of time that they did before security was there to remove them. Clearly, I would say the response time is inadequate for the situation. Lorena, before we go to Josh, tell people where they can find you on this great, big, beautiful web.
Well, folks, you can find me on Instagram, you can find me on Twitter, and of course, you can find me on YouTube for various videos and live streams for pop culture, sci-fi analysis, and of course, always keeping it real when it comes to theme parks.
Absolutely. Folks, make sure you subscribe to Lorena Creole. All right, Josh, let's go. And just as promised, folks, we have a true Disney historian, expert, and futurist with us right now to talk about the security issues of the It's a Small World incident, as well as the other things that have arisen in the past, talking about the brawl in Toontown, the Magic Kingdom fight, etc. Joshua, welcome back to the channel, first of all. How have you been?
Doing well, absolutely. Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
I have to say that you're one of those guests that when you don't appear for a duration of time, folks start asking about, hey, when can you get Joshua back on? People love your immense and unique knowledge of the Disney parks. And so let's go ahead and pick at that knowledge right now. Josh, the response time that you have observed with this It's a Small World incident, as we were able to capture it with the videos that we just watched, what's your take on how Disney security did here? And do you think that there's really an issue with Disney security and the efficiency of ending these kinds of conflicts and bizarre behaviors?
I think they did extraordinarily well. That might upset some people for some reasons, but I do think that they did the best that they possibly could do in this particular situation. There's really not much else that they can do with these. I mean, the response time was relatively quick for it.
Do you have an idea, Josh, of what the response time might have been? Do you have any inkling of that?
The response time for it, I believe it was that was probably in the matter of like 15 minutes or so, I believe is what I observed.
Okay.
I mean, did you hear something different or?
No. That lines up with what we're hearing as well.
Okay, yeah. So that's the typical Disney security response time for almost any particular incident.
Do you think that should be shorter? Because here's my concern, Josh.
Mm-hmm.
My concern is that 15 minutes, let's say that this person wanted to do harm.
Yes.
If this individual had wanted to do harm beyond just bizarre behavior and being lewd, and we understand that even their, I'll say this in a funny way for YouTube, we hear their skivvies came off down to the, completely down to skin alone.
Yes.
If it went beyond that, I would want a faster response time than 15 minutes. Can Disney elevate that security response time if there's something going on that is even worse, or do you think that 15 is about what you can expect if you're in the Disney parks?
I think that's honestly what you can expect with that, especially when you're dealing with Disneyland. Disneyland is enormously cast member dense. It is the pinnacle right now, for better for worse, of all cast member interactions. Their cast to guest ratio is extraordinarily high, higher than any other resort on the planet. So I can tell you from a Walt Disney World perspective that they are dramatically increasing their security right now. And
you mean in the past months, or do you mean in the past days?
Past months. Okay. This happens well before this particular incident.
Yes, that's what I wanted to clarify.
Yeah, so that's fine.
Josh, one of the complaints that we've heard, and this has come from cast members, is that they feel as though the protocols have shifted such that your average cast manager, your average cast member, or even your manager level cast members are not given the tools any longer to respond to bizarre issues such as this, or to potentially dangerous situations. They have to call in security, and then they have to wait for security. Is it your opinion that there needs to be some system put in place to allow for quicker response times in the event of something like this, where truly, if this person had wanted to, they could have destroyed huge parts of It's a Small World before anything happened?
Correct. Yeah, they could. The problem is not. The problem is largely bureaucratical, if that's a word. I
like it. I like it, but I'm a suffix guy. You threw two suffixes on, and I'm just fine with that.
Yeah. So the problem with it is that they know without a shadow of a doubt that if the other cast members intervene, they will not be supported by their leadership team.
Okay, that's exactly what we've heard, and that's what I'm concerned about, because you need your front line to be able to decrease the heat on any given conflict
Correct.
or to step in if there's a situation like this and say, you know what, we're going to e-stop this whole thing.
Mhm.
Like, we're not, this ride is over until we get a hold of Crazy Guy.
Correct. Yeah, and really, and they're under enormous pressure to keep things going as they are. For some reason,
Josh, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I
right.
would have shut down those dolls. I would have shut down the animatronics. I'd have turned off the music,
Mhm.
immediately. Once it was discovered, hey, we got a nut job bouncing around out here, like he's skinny dipping with the dollies. We're going to shut this down. And that doesn't seem to have happened. So that's why I think that Disney needs to reconsider empowering those frontline cast members and having their back in these sorts of situations.
Right. The problem with that is that their entire psychology for just their normal operation works completely counter to that narrative or to that mindset, because they are meant to they are meant to follow orders, they are meant to follow protocols, and they are meant to not cause any waves at any particular time. If any cast member would have gotten involved with this, let's say that he just decided to do this outside of a ride path. If he decided to do that, they would be admonished for trying to get him to put his clothes back on or something of that nature. They would definitely be chastised for that. There would probably be some sort of discussion or reprimand procedure because they inconvenienced or shamed a guest. This is how the actual thing works, and they all know this.
Do you think the ride should have been shut down?
Well, I believe that at one point they actually stopped the water system because that's a flume ride, so it's not something that can be instantly shut off like that.
Well, I mean the animatronics and the background music and all of that. Do you think they should have shut this down like an e-stop and said, we're not going to give this guy any means by which to be confused or whatever was going on in his psychedelic experience?
Right. So the problem that you would exist with that is that first of all, they don't really know exactly where he was at the particular time. So if you were able to contain this and say just one show scene, say that you have like the Amazon rainforest scene where he's in there right now, then why inconvenience everybody else in the other scenes to where they don't know what's going on? So you're actually, what they would view it as is that you would be inflaming the situation that already exists if you did that with those. And also with that, It's a Small World, you're dealing with a 1964 attraction. So I'm not sure exactly if you were able to do that with the animatronics, because in most attractions that have animatronics, it is detrimental to their technological health, let's call it, to ever shut them down. So what they will do, even on the nighttime, like for example, if you're for Dinosaur over at Animal Kingdom, those dinosaurs are moving all night long. So are the pirates in Pirates of the Caribbean. Now they don't do their normal routines. They will do something that's much slower, much more restrained, something that's something to where they're actually slowing down, but they're keeping the fluids moving inside. And with that one, I'm pretty sure that a lot of that still functions off of the old technology. So I don't think that they've switched to electric. I could be wrong, but they probably haven't switched to electric motors. But in any case, you do want to keep those motors going all the time, like almost 24/7. So that could cause it actually causes damage to the animatronics whenever you hard shut them down.
Sure. Well, that's good information to know. And Josh, let it also be said that you and I both know some stuff about the security in place for It's a Small World, and we're choosing to not discuss it lest anyone were to use it to their advantage to do something similar. And so we're withholding some of the things that we know on purpose. But Josh, when it comes to Disney security, you're one of the most intelligent and knowledgeable people when it comes to the parks, period. Share with us, what do you think could be done maybe to prevent some of these kinds of things from happening in the future? It doesn't just have to be directly linked to security, but also, are there broader trends in society that we need to be watching out for that could reduce this?
Okay. Here's the part that you are probably not going to like, and that everybody on this stream is not going to like. There,
Permission to offend, Joshua.
yes, yes. Okay, this is really going to upset a lot of people because you're going. Ever since Disneyland first opened in 1955, those gorgeous, wonderfully designed areas have been infected by a biological weapon known as humanity. Every single day, there is situations like this that are going on in every single park. So even on the opening day of Disneyland, everyone knows about Black Sunday, which was basically like, okay, we had a recent history thing about that, which is Jollywood Nights. The first Jollywood Nights is very, very similar to how things went on the opening day of Disneyland, except there was actual malice involved with the opening of Disneyland. There were people that were setting up ladders to go over the hill and charging people 10 to 15 cents to just go over and completely flood the park. There were adults that were ripping children off of the carousel to put their own on the carousel. There's story upon story upon story about that. In 1970, there was basically a one-day war that occurred in Disneyland called as Hippie, which was Hippie
Yes.
Day. So there is always a bear on the loose, a brawl going on in Toontown. And if I could paraphrase from the movie Men in Black, the only way that everyone gets along and everyone is okay with it is that they don't know about it. The unfortunate part now is that there is social media, and so everything that people say, and I see the reports online all the time. It's just like, what is happening with the parks? There's there's this boat sinking, and there's this thing happening. I'm like, yeah, it's always been like that. I have over 10 years of experience inside of the parks alone, despite not just in resorts, but also just 10 years inside the parks. I'm amazed that they haven't caught more that is going on every single day. And I mean, this is not, I mean, I look at the reports on this and everybody's just like, oh, okay, cool. I mean, like me and myself, I'm just like genuinely okay, mildly amused by the Small World incident. But at the same time, like, it seems like a pretty normal day inside the park. Because people just didn't know beforehand about that. I have tons of stories, most of them X-rated, that I could tell you about incidents that have went on inside of various attractions from people that have worked in the park in the 80s, in the 70s, in the 90s as well. This is always going on. It never stops. And here's the thing: it's never going to stop. And it's also because there's no way that you can actually prevent these incidences with security. If you take this one incident alone, what this would trigger, if you wanted Disney to actually, not you specifically, but if you wanted Disney to actually respond to this threat and make sure that it never happens again, that means that every single person who comes inside of Disney World will have to be frisked, or any Disney park across the planet.
I think this guy might have liked that, Joshua. He may have enjoyed that. He may be the only one.
So be frisked about it, and also everyone needs to take a drug test before they actually come inside the park. Which
Let me ask you this, Josh. So, and we do have to wrap up, but here's my solution.
Mhm.
I would like to see conflicts such as this. I would like to see somebody who has authority, Disney security or police or whatever, law enforcement. I would like to see them on the scene in 5 minutes or less, especially when harm is possible. Now, I get that there's craziness that happens every day inside the parks, and probably triply so in the Chinese parks. But all of that said, when it comes to things that could potentially be dangerous, I'd like to see the response time decrease significantly. Is that fair?
Well, there's the commentator Konstantin Kisin comes to mind when I say it's just like, okay, well then that's a trade-off. If you want that, if you want to have more security that is going to be hired by Disney, they're going to have to pay more money for that. When they pay more money for it, they are obviously never going to absorb the cost. So that means that it's going to be going down to the guests, and the guests are going to have to end up paying even more for their already expensive days inside the park. When they do that, that means that they're going to be under even more stress when they're inside of the park, which means that you're going to incur more incidences, which might actually be attributable to some of the fights that have been going on, not necessarily the shenanigans, which I would classify the Small World incident as that would be a shenanigans type of thing. Just
well, it involves indecency and
Yes,
criminal charges. So
oh yeah, no, I'm not
yes.
saying that I'm not trying to make light of it at all. Absolutely, you
Right.
should not do this. This is unconscionable. But at the same time, it's something that, you know, it's warranting some discussion, but I don't think that there's any way that security would be able to do that. And here's the problem with it. You know, it's not just that this is going to get worse because everyone is going to be documenting everything inside the parks that they've already done. We've already seen that dramatically escalate in the past 10 years. But here's the thought for you. If there was social media in 1955, there would be no Disneyland today at all. There would be no Disney parks at all, because no one in 1950s America, seeing things that happened on that actual day distributed amongst the population in 50s, would ever go into Disneyland. And that's of no fault of Disney's on its own. That's on no fault of Walt Disney's on their own. They had to do enormous amounts of test and adjust after the parks opened to make sure that everything was as safe and as serene as they possibly can. And they tried their best with this, but there's only so much that you can do with this amount of people that is going to be effective. So.
Suffice to say that theme park etiquette has changed over the decades. One thing still remains true, folks. Keep your clothes on, no matter what ride you're on. And Josh, as you've been talking, a thought came to me. I know how to fix this. Big Bob Iger, and of course Hugh ... Johnston, they have quite the salaries, and they're benevolent Bobby. I am sure that the C-suite of Disney will be more than happy, Joshua, to donate a small portion of their salaries, their enormous salaries, in order to secure more security for the parks domestically and protect all of their most valued guests. Solution is at hand. Joshua, thank you for being on today. Opinionated as always, but we love it. And we love when you bring your thoughts and expertise. Thank you so much. Folks, if you'd like to say a thank you for this video, like, share, subscribe. And when you click it, you stick it to the algorithms. It's the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts on this issue with It's a Small World and, more broadly, security, as well as, do you agree or disagree with Josh's take on the idea that this has always happened and you cannot fully control crazy human beings doing crazy things. All right, folks, that's a wrap for today. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun, but not as much fun as that guy on It's a Small World. That is really weird. Don't do that. Don't do that at all.
No, hey Florel, what you doing? Thinking about Rome?
No, I wasn't. But thanks. Now I lost the game.
Dang it. Now I lost the game. Oh,
No.
Well, now you're a double loser.
Hey guys,
Game.
you know what would help you in your grief? Forgetting those things and filling your mind with articles from thatparkplace.com and using that website as a launching pad to get you lost in thought with all of the team from there.
Yeah, that's actually a good idea.
Yeah. Oh, well, Flora, would you look down here?
I hate you.